Welcome back to Offroad Outlaws, guys, and in this video, we are actually going to be finding out which one of these three vehicles is truly the fastest. Now, on a lot of my Offroad Outlaws live streams, it always comes down to these three vehicles, right? We have the heavily modified, heavily customized AMG 6x6, we have this stretched quad, and we also have this sort of YAR-based 6x6 vehicle. Now, these are all very, very similar in the way they're designed. You may notice the tires are tiny, and there's a reason for that, because for some reason, the way this game's physics system works is if you make that tire small enough, it will actually react to the physics and speed you up. So a lot of people have asked me, why do these vehicles have really small tires? And it's basically to play with the physics to get these vehicles to go faster than they probably should. Now, again, if you're a regular on the streams, you know these three vehicles, especially this one. This thing is absolutely ridiculously fast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the tuning for these vehicles, and then we're actually going to be using a map that has a timer to actually see which one of these vehicles makes it down the course the fastest. Now, the drag tracks we will be using will feature a mixture of water and mud, which is pretty similar to the actual TC's Quick Race map that you guys will usually see in the featured tab when you go into custom maps. So, to start off with the AMG 6x6, we'll do a quick walkthrough of the tune, and then we'll go test it out and set a time. Now, tuning-wise, or upgrades-wise, I should say, obviously this thing is fully maxed out, and tuning-wise, it is, if I go into the suspension type, it's solid axle suspension, and axis width doesn't really matter all that much, but it's at a 0.8. This is for the front. So 0.8, damping is 3,000, and then shocks are shock number 1. That doesn't really matter all that much. Shock size 1.8. Again, that's just visual. Doesn't matter all that much. Spring brackets are mount number 1. Again, pretty visual. And then stiffness is going to be 11,900, and travel is going to be max. Now, moving on to the rear, we got an axis width of 0.8. Damping of 3,000, and then I'm going to skip over like the leaf spring stuff, the rear steering stuff, the shocks, the shock size, the spring brackets, and then stiffness is going to be 12,000, like basically exactly 12,000, and then travel is going to be maxed. Now, let's go ahead and take this thing out to the track we're going to use, and we'll set some times. And the map that we are looking for is actually Mega Truck Racing TC. This one we didn't really use all that much. However, that's not to take anything away from this map. It's a wonderful map. It's an absolutely wonderful map, and he did an amazing job with it. And actually, if you're trying to figure out how fast your vehicles actually are, this is a great map for it. So obviously all of these vehicles are going to be running in all-wheel drive with all the diff locks engaged, and as you can see, this thing is incredibly quick. So we're going to be using this course, the farthest on the left, and we're going to pull up to the start line, and then we're going to initiate the timer. Now, once we initiate that timer, we're going to be holding down the gas. This thing will build up the revs, and then when it says we can go, we're going to go. So let's see what kind of time we can put down. Start trial. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So it's rocketing off the line. Thing is incredibly fast. Bob's a bit in the mud. Not too sure about that, but it can keep itself going. Whoa! Oh my God, we missed. We missed. We have to do it again. Ouch. We missed. We have to do that again. I have never missed the finish line before. I didn't even know you could miss that finish line here. That's actually pretty bad when you think about it. Whoa. I love how when I actually try to turn with the e-brake, it's like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You're not going to turn. All right, let's try you one more time. In 3, 2, 1, go. Gonna lift a bit there to try to just make it a little smoother. There you go. Come on. And across the line. So 13.5. Now, 13.5 with a world record of 10.73. That's very, very, very fast. Now, I have run a little bit faster than that here in this vehicle, but we're kind of going off of a approximation for these vehicles. So approximately 13.5, give or take a little bit. So fast, it's quick, it's definitely quick, but now it's time to go and grab one of the other vehicles, specifically the quad. Now, a lot of people always have questions about the quad on the streams, and so I have done a separate video on the quad if you want to look that up on my channel, and that video is fully available. The full tune and build for it is available, but this thing is very, very interesting. Now, quick walkthrough of the tune. we're running a axis width in the front of 0.1 with a damping of 3200, and the stiffness is 12.3, and the travel is max. In the rear, we're running, again, an axis width of 0.1, a rear axle offset of 0.2, damping of 3200, stiffness of 12.3, and travel max. So again, pretty similar setups on the front and the rear, but let's see how it translates to that particular track. So again, if we go back to custom maps, we go back to favorites, and unfortunately, because of the way this is all set up, let's see if I type in TC if it comes up. There we go, Mega Truck Racing TC. Beautiful. So that's actually a much easier way to locate this map. So let's go ahead and make our way out to the start line in this quad now, or I should say on, not in, because you're on top of it, not inside of it. But either way, let's go ahead and get the tack out of the way, get into the throttle, and this thing is very, very, very fast. Very fast. Whoop. Now let's see. It actually makes it easier to align yourself with the starting line because it's such a small vehicle. Now let's see what this thing can do in 3, 2, 1, launch. Let's go. Come on. It crawls through the mud quick. That was 13.2. Very, very, very close to the AMG 6x6. Extremely close. I'm actually very surprised at how close these vehicles are to each other. That's actually a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Let's see if we can... Whoa! Oh, man, if we were on target, we could have actually landed on the platform up there. That would have been really, really cool, wouldn't it? That would have been really, really, really freaking cool. So now we're going to go back to the garage, and I'm going to walk you guys through the tuning of the other 6x6, which, again, a lot of people ask about the tuning of that truck, and I'm really happy to share it with you guys. That way, you guys can build some really fast vehicles. And not only are they a lot of fun to race, you know, against the clock, but they're a lot of fun to race against your friends as well. So going into the setup of this vehicle, again, just standard solid axle with leaf springs. If we go into the suspension tuning, we'll see an axis width of 0.08, damping of 3000, and we're going to go with spring bracket upper mount 1 and stiffness 11.9 and travel max. In the rear, we're working with an axis width of 0.06, damping of 3000, and then we're going also with, let's see, spring bracket upper mount 1 and stiffness of 12.7 and travel max. So a little bit different, but not too different, not too crazy different. So now we're actually going to take this thing out and see how it does, and at the end of the video, I'm actually going to walk you guys through the gearing of all of these vehicles as well. This one, I'll go ahead and walk you through the gearing right now, and then when we finish testing this vehicle, I'll walk you guys through the gearing of the other two. So the gearing on this vehicle is going to be 3.2, 2.0, 1.5, and 1.2, and then 0.9. Now, that seems to work very, very well on the main TC's Quick Race map, and it does pretty well on all the other race maps as well, really. So let's go back to that same map, and this truck I'm expecting in the neighborhood of a 13-something, but it all depends on how we can get a rhythm on those jumps, because it's all about getting a rhythm over the jumps. Because think about it, when you're in the air, you're not speeding up, you're slowing down. It's a big vehicle. It's a thick vehicle, that's for sure. Easy does it. All right, let's pull up to the line. Let's get as close as we can. Good to go. And 3, 2, 1, go. Little iffy getting off the line, but it took that compression really well. Oh, my God. Oh, no! Okay, yeah, we're definitely gonna rerun that because we rolled it over. I feel like rolling it over is reason enough to actually restart it, and we damaged it just a little bit. So let's go back to the line now and see what we can do on this run without flipping the thing over. I will tell you, this one is more prone to rolling than the AMG 6x6 is. Not sure why, but it is. And go! Maintains that gear really well. Come on! 13-1. And that was with a sloppy finish. So that's kind of like... That's kind of interesting because that means that with like a perfectly driven run, you could easily have this thing in the 12s. And full disclosure, I have run 12s on that course also in the AMG 6x6. So it's definitely doable. You just have to get that rhythm right. But I think from a point of comparison, it's actually very interesting to me how incredibly close these three vehicles are. Now, we're actually going to go back to the garage now and do a quick deep dive into the gearing of the other vehicles, because it is a little bit different, but not by much. Now, the gearing on the quad specifically, let's go into that. So first gear is also, let's see, it's going to be 3.2. Second gear is going to be 2.0. Third gear is going to be 1.5. Fourth gear, 1.2. And fifth gear, 0.9. And you can mess with these a little bit and tune them to your preferences, but a lot of that gearing info actually came from one of my regulars on the stream, Banana 101, who has actually developed a lot of the setups that we're using right now. So if we go into the tuning yet again, gear tuning, and first gear is going to be 3.2, second gear 2.0, 1.5, 1.2, and 0.6. Now, the reason why it's 0.6 in fifth gear is not due to any of those drag racing maps. It's actually specifically due to the fact that I wanted this thing to be able to go faster so it could go farther off of some of the stunt jumps on some other maps. So that should be set to 0.9 if you're actually going to be racing it on these mega truck racing maps. I would recommend setting that to 0.9, but for other uses, you could set it to 0.6 and it goes much faster on the top end. Now, if you guys have any vehicles that you think are within the realm of being up to the level that these are in terms of speed, you can recommend them to me in the comment section down below, because I would love to do some other high-speed builds if you guys are aware of any other vehicles that are very, very quick. These are just the top three that I have found in terms of speed, again, being the AMG 6x6, the stretched four-wheeler, and the Yar style 6x6 as well, which is amazing to me because this thing is actually pretty heavy, but it's still very, very fast. So that's going to do it for this Offroad Outlaws video, guys. And again, let me know any and all thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.